Makers are trying again in the next legislative session to pass a bill that would allow them to fund only college courses in state-funded colleges and universities that would make people a steady income. The person who died in a wreck that happened in a parking lot on Clay Street in Vicksburg Sunday night has been identified as 62-year-old Ruby Franklin. Police say that she had some kind of medical emergency while she was driving and that she hit what they describe as a fixed object in the parking lot. Most of the animals found by sheriff's deputies in Adams County at a property on Lily Lane did not have enough food or water, those deputies say, so they have charged 38-year-old Jeremy Johnson with 35 counts of animal cruelty. They say they found dogs, cats, chickens, and even a donkey. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
I would buy her the moon if I could, but I've got to stick to my budget. John and Corey, how can I afford the diamond she really wants?
You know, I think you'll be genuinely surprised by how much diamond you can afford at Juniker Jewelry Company.
Because here you will find 10 times the diamonds and engagement rings of average jewelry stores.
And the true diamond experts to help you put it all together.
The diamond engagement ring of her dreams is right here, right now at Juniker Jewelry Company.
And with multiple financing options and good credit, it can be remarkably affordable.
We even have diamond engagement rings complete with your choice of center diamonds, starting at under $2,000. So, what are you waiting for?
Go ahead. Give her the moon.
We make it easy at Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer. From anywhere in Mississippi, we're at 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and online at junikerjewelry.com. Juniker Jewelry, because love can't wait.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual.
Welcome into the Lindsey Beckham Show. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Y'all already know I'm fired up today. You already know. I'm sure if you are listening to this show, then you cannot open your social media feed without seeing what took place this morning. Trust me. We're going to get into it. Clay's going to get on. We're going to break it down. Just not much has me speechless, but we're gonna get into it. Trust me, we're gonna get into it. First, let's talk about liberty. Let's read our Live in Liberty quote, our Madison Minute for the day. This book, Live in Liberty Daily, written by my friend Marie. You can find it on Amazon, or you can go to liveinlibertydaily.com. But today's quote is from Governor Morris, and this was in a letter to Congress that presented the Constitution in convention, September 17th, 1787, signed by George Washington, and of course, penned by Governor Morris. And what he said was, individuals entering into society must give up a share of liberty to preserve the rest. The magnitude of the sacrifice must depend as well on situation and circumstance as on the object to be obtained. It is at all times difficult to draw with precision the line between those rights which must be surrendered and those which may be reserved. And so I think a lot of people can understand that there are certain liberties that we have to give up in order to live in a successful society. We all pay taxes, unfortunately. And so I think that really opens a conversation about which liberties should we have to give up and which ones should we never have to compromise at all costs. So again, live in Liberty Daily. I love that we can read a quote from one of our founding fathers to open the show every day. 30-second to a minute quote, and yet these things still are so relevant when we look at society and the world that we live in today. The greatest country, of course, to ever exist, the United States of America, that our founding fathers gave up so much for us to be able to enjoy the rights and the freedoms that we have in this great country today. All right, y'all. Ben Crump, where to start? You know, I wore my FAFO shirt just for you, Mr. Crump, just for you. Never, ever have I seen someone be able to take an autopsy that clearly says undetermined cause of death, we don't know, and turn that into this had to have been a murder. And look, I'd like to think that we are smarter as a society than a lot of what I'm seeing right now on social media, because some of you fell for this man's act hook, line, and sinker. I have seen posts calling for an arrest. Arrest of who? Arrest of who? Who are you wanting the sheriff's department over in Jackson County to arrest? Who are you accusing of doing something nefarious on the 4th of July that caused the death of this young man, Nolan Wells? I would love to know. I would love to know. Shame on all of you out there for wanting so badly for this to be a murder because of race. That is downright disgusting. I'm sorry, but the only people I see being racist in this situation are the Black people. I said what I said, and I mean it. They are the only ones out there that I see being racist when it comes to this young man's death. This was a publicity stunt of all publicity stunts. Let's do this. Let's release this independent autopsy that clearly shows nothing at an NAACP conference. It's infuriating. It is infuriating that this lawyer can push a narrative that he pulled out of his rear end, that he wants so badly to be true here, and turn people against an entire state. An entire state. Those boys were his friends. He chose to be with them that day. It is downright disgraceful what's happening here. And the fact that so many are allowing it and falling for it is quite disappointing, in my opinion. Quite disappointing. Again, clearly a publicity stunt. We just had the funeral. We're going to get on a plane fly states away so that we can announce an autopsy, an independent autopsy that was supposed to be released weeks ago, but then there was weather, and then there was excuse after excuse after excuse of why it wasn't released. You know why it wasn't released as soon as they got their hands on it? Because it didn't give them the answers they hoped that it would. That's why. So Ben Crump stands up there today. It makes it look as though the medical examiner And investigators in Mississippi are hiding something. They're covering something up because we didn't get these organs or we didn't get this part of the body. Guess what? That is standard practice when it comes to autopsies. They should have had a medical examiner going through this independent autopsy today in front of the media, but they couldn't allow that, could they? Because a medical examiner will tell you the truth. They will tell you that when an autopsy is done, there are certain parts that are not going to be intact. There are certain parts that will not be there for the second autopsy. The contents of the stomach, they have already gone through that. It's not there anymore. And because they want this so badly to be a murder for racial reasons, they put this family through hell, having to sit there and listen to every detail of this boy's body being carved up, split open, here, there, and everywhere. It's absolutely sickening. Sorry, caller. Call back. I guess maybe I didn't get to it in time. Let's see, Clay should be jumping on at any point because I know he covered it live. He says he will be here for the second segment. He had it on. I texted him yesterday. I said, you want to come do the show with me tomorrow? Because I know the press conference is scheduled for 8, but of course we know how they dilly-dally around. They were late starting the press conference, and then they had to thank all their people, and the parents had to speak. And I'm quite disappointed in the mom and dad here for allowing these shenanigans and this circus to play out the way that it is playing out. Hey there, caller, you're on the air.
Miss Lady, you gotta calm down now. You gotta calm down.
I can't
for
do
your
it.
health reasons.
I can't do it.
You gotta calm down for your health reasons.
It's
'Cause
disgusting.
you gotta think about it. They did say that he had something wrong with the back of his head now.
You do understand that I can't imagine how beat up a body is going to be if it has been carried off in some sort of current or tied. Anything could have been bruised on his body.
How do you, but you know, at the end of the day, you don't know what happened, right?
I don't know what happened.
You don't
I
know
don't.
what.
But I also
You
don't
know
believe that
what
we should
happened.
pin it on someone and blame them, make them guilty when we have no idea what happened.
You're right. But guess what, though? You're not a medical examiner. You're not an autopsy person.
I know how
You're
autopsies are performed.
You're not a police officer or none of that. You're not even from down that way. You was not there or in anything, any of that.
And
what about the circumstances? What about the other circumstances surrounding his death or whatever, like his cell phone?
What about it?
More thing that was, his cell phone was not with him. It was missing.
It wasn't missing. It absolutely wasn't missing.
Yeah. Excuse me. His friends had his cell phone. The people that he was with had his cell phone.
Okay, so it wasn't missing.
I mean, it was. Come on now, your cell phone's with you at all times. Most people that have cell phones that are 18 and above are gonna have their cell phone with them, especially when they're out in a public event or whatever.
Yeah, I completely disagree.
You're not gonna go to a concert. You're not gonna go to a concert and hand your phone to somebody else and say, "Hey, y'all go on with my phone."
No, but that's a concert. There's a big difference between being on a boat.
Saying, come on now,
there's a big difference. No, hold on. There is a big difference between being on a boat on an island where there is no cell service, getting off the boat into the water. I don't take my phone into water, sir.
What about the deleted text messages? Then?
What deleted text messages? Who can prove that there was anything deleted from this boy's phone? Who can prove that?
Yeah, it was said that the text message was deleted, and then
who said? Where did you get that? Where did you get that?
Yeah, that's what some of the evidence is coming out that there was deleted text messages.
Yeah, what evidence? Where are you finding this
Witnesses-
evidence? Where do you see this
There
evidence?
are witnesses and information that's being released. A lot of information is being released, which got you all upset. So the sheriff department now they are doing an investigation. They're asking questions. People are telling information.
There is currently an active investigation.
Right. And so people talking and telling what's going on. And they still investigating. So you don't know what the outcome is.
I don't.
Don't nobody know. So
Okay, so then it's
I don't even know why
ridiculous.
you're talking about this today. I don't even know why you're talking about this today.
Okay.
Because the investigation ain't even done.
All right. Well,
There ain't
Master
nothing
D.
to talk- I wish everybody just be quiet and wait for the investigation.
Okay, well, you're gonna be quiet now because we got to take a break. Y'all stay with us when we get back for the second segment. Clay's gonna be on with us, and we're gonna break all of this down. Y'all stay tuned. 103.9 WYAB, the Lindsey Beckham Show. We will be right back.
Organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Hi, this is Alan Allen, nurse practitioner at the MEA Medical Clinic in Flora, Mississippi. Located in the Cotton Exchange Plaza, we're here to provide patient-centered care that is thorough, compassionate, and convenient. Whether you need primary care services or same-day medical care when you aren't feeling your best, we're here to support your health.
MEA Medical Clinics.
Hello, I'm Gary Jolly from the Tractor Store. LS Tractor understands your passion for the land, and just like you, LS Tractor is committed to excellence and superior products. LS Tractor comes with a long list of standard features that are unmatched by other brands and backed with the LS commitment to provide exceptional customer service and satisfaction. You get a lot more for your money with the LS Tractor. Come to the Tractor Store in Richland to experience the LS difference. The Tractor Store in Richland.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is leveling up. A whole new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is now open at the Reservoir at Beethoven's Boardwalk in Ridgeland, right next door to Cock of the Walk. And the new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris will have all of your old favorites too, like the Acme Dynamite Balls and Garlic Knots, and the best specialty pizzas ever, like the Pig, the Sergeant Pepperoni, the Surf and Turf, and lots more. Come to the all-new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris location on the Res in Ridgeland, next door to Cock of the Walk.
Hey, Flora, the farm store in Flora, fresh from the farm right here. The farm store in Flora, organic, local, clear. Locally sourced meats and vegetables too. Fresh produce every day, picked just for you. The farm store in Flora, fresh from the farm right here. The farm store in Flora, come see what's fresh today.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
From Jacksontown to the
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. All right, we have Clay here. Let's see if I can get the comments in the right place this time. It never seems to work for me. I don't know. It always messes up for some reason. Let's see. Clay, can you hear me?
Yes. Lindsay, there's a box. That you have to,
You
have
always try to tell me
hit
this.
the chat. You have
Uh-huh.
to hit the chat, and then there's gonna, you can just kind of scroll over it, and like some three little dots will pop up.
Uh-huh.
You click that, and be like all settings, all settings,
All settings.
and then there should be something that's like overlay off or something. Not overlay off. There you go. Right
there we go. Perfect.
Like
Okay.
that. Perfect.
Got it. Okay, there we go. All right, Clay. I'm a little fired up. I guess I think I have a right to be. Yes, we are. We're live.
Like, where are we at? Sorry, I have dogs and everything, and it just takes a while.
That's okay. That's okay. I understand. I really hope somebody goes and adopts that dog that you posted, because that story just had my heart sad. That sweet dog.
Out there at Webster Animal Shelter.
Yes.
That big half pit, half chow, just baby, big baby.
I know.
You know.
Y'all, Clay said he would pay for food for the first, 6 weeks?
6 weeks. Yeah, I'll donate $250 to food.
There you go. So y'all go adopt that
that
sweet dog. Go adopt. I mean, it looks like the sweetest. It's a big dog, but a big baby.
Oh yeah, 5 years old. 4 of them have been living in the shelter. He's their longest. They're obviously a no kill. He's their longest animal. He's great with other boy. He's great with other boy dogs, I think. No, he's great with girl dogs. Bad with boy dogs. Seems to be good around kids, and I think good around female cats too. I think I saw. Anyway, if you can handle a half pit, half chow, they're a high energy dog. Either you can or you can't. I don't have to sell you on that. Regardless what you think of pits, yada yada yada. If you got it in your heart and you want to go donate it to sweet little baby, go do it. I would if I didn't have my terrier, my Yorkie, and the Yorkie thinking she is as big as any pit bull and thinks she is a pit bull. It would be a bloodbath around here, and I don't have the appetite for it.
Yeah, I don't blame you one bit. Well, the haters are out in full force over in the comments, Clay, of course, because when you talk about something like this, you're obviously racist, right?
Yeah, if you don't agree, see, now the thing I find funny, Lindsay, is the left is constantly told us silence is violence. Silence is violence unless you're speaking against whatever it is they believe. Again, on this Nolan Wells thing, can anybody give me a lick of motive other than racism? They killed this black boy, for just because he was black and had a white girlfriend. Is that my understanding? Now, he's been black his whole life. They've been friends the better part of their whole lives. And we're supposed to believe that this was the day they had it marked down. This is what the sun said. And this was all in numerology. This is Emmett Till 2.0. It's all planned. I mean, all by the numbers, according to that post I saw on Facebook that I discussed on my show the other day. They added all this numerical stuff together. This was in the cards. Well, I mean, let's just play that game for a second. Sorry, my nose is itching. Let's play that game for a second. If this was in the cards, that's God's will then. Why are y'all even arguing it? He's in a much better place regardless of how he got there. Now, I'm being facetious, but it's stupid. Nobody can tell us why they did it, why they would want to do it. What would be the upside? What would be the motive?
Right. I mean, I haven't heard one. I definitely have not heard one. And then we get people like Master D, who just called in and is talking about these text messages that were deleted. Now, I've heard that. I've also heard that the mom has said, well, there was just nothing on his phone from that day, and that was unusual. But again, Clay, they're on an island. There's no cell service. There's water around them. It makes perfect sense in my mind that you don't have your phone in your hand.
You're talking to a bunch of people who haven't been on boats, who just don't understand it. Oh, there ain't no 18-year-old gonna leave their phone behind. If your phone is nothing but a paperweight because of where you're at, yes, you will leave it behind. I'm not going to jump in the water. Like, they don't understand. They think it's a pier. They refuse to wrap their heads around the fact that you pull up and you can't drive up to the sandbar. You have to drop anchor or whatever, or tie up further out. Mm-hmm. You have to get out of the boat and wade through water to even get to the sandbar. Well, there's no phone service out there. Zero. Now, sure, you can take pictures on your phone, or I guess open the Snap app, take pictures and save them to your phone. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's nothing to take a picture of. But you would leave your phone in the water. In the boat. And a lot of people will put them in Ziploc bags, wrap them up, put them out of the sun because they'll get hot and they won't work and they'll be useless. So you're going to get the phone. You're going to have to hold it up high over your head the whole time you're there. You have to keep up with it. It makes perfect sense to leave. It makes more sense to leave your phone.
Absolutely.
Than to take your phone. And then even if you're staying behind like you chose to, it would still be the same situation. You're gonna have to hold on to the phone and keep it dry. It just makes more sense to just leave it and like, hey, I'll use somebody's phone. I'll holler when we get back. Give my phone to my dad, whatever. Just none of this makes any sense to me. They've convoluted it up so much, trying to confuse everybody. And a good job.
And I know when I have my phone and there's little to no service, it's constantly trying to find service, which drains the battery, not to mention they're out in the heat. So who knows? The battery could have been dead. And if you can't charge it, you're on an island, then why would you have it with you? Then I hear there's different locations. Well, the Find My Friends and the Snapchat map, there's going to be different locations because one of them constantly updates and one only updates when you open the app. So that makes sense too.
Yeah, look, we've heard stories in the past about people's phone ringing after they're dead, or getting calls from people's phones after they were dead, or phones pinging in places after somebody was dead that made them think that maybe they weren't dead. We've heard all kind of crazy stuff. When Micah Barber died, I'll never forget one of my good friends. Sadly took his own life, and his phone ended up pinging somewhere else after his so-called death. But sometimes the pings off the cell phone towers can be delayed. Yeah. And it's all kind of stuff. And look, because I was one of the people who said, well, that sure is weird. Are we sure somebody didn't kill him and take his phone? But that wasn't the case. It was if my memory serves, if I'm getting this wrong, if Micah's brother or any of his family are listening, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It has been 6-7 years now. It was something to that extent. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But it was something to that extent. The phone pinged, I think, over in Rankin County, hours after he was pronounced deceased. And then it was like, oh my God, what's going on? So it can happen. A lot of weird stuff can happen when you're talking about technology and cell phone towers pinging. And it's just, that aside, there's just no motive, and there's no evidence that he did it other than one group of people want it to be true.
They want it to be that. And today's press conference was the biggest publicity stunt I've ever seen. I mean, it just disgusts me.
Yeah, I said, other than they want this to be true, which is really sickening because, I don't want it to be true.
Me either.
I don't want there to be racism in Mississippi. I don't want to think that one race of people, regardless of which one, is out hunting and killing the other one. Sorry for not wanting racism, guys. Sorry for hoping and praying that that's not what happened. And
we have a comment. I want you to respond to this. Why are they saying he was found fully dressed? Because you sent me a response to that from the Cajun Navy.
Because they lied. I don't know what would be I guess the upside would be to insinuate that they murdered him and threw him over the boat. I guess that's the insinuation they're trying to suggest. Now, I sent that to some people, and they said, well, the Cajun Navy may be talking out the side of the mouth a little bit because they think they may have told Nancy Grace that he had his clothes on. So, but I'm gathering all of this on my ride from Flora back to Brandon, and I have not had time to peel back the onion and dissect every word of both sides yet. But trust me when I tell you, I will. Yeah. I screenshot the Cajun Navy's post and I posted it on all my socials. I mean, I don't think they would lie. I think the person that told me that may be misremembering. But look, a lot of people can talk to. That's the other thing. Say like a group about the Cajun Navy, and I was using them as the example. There's more than one person, and one person may have misremembered or thought they were told one thing and told somebody else. And you know how this works. It's not even intentional lying, but somebody may have misheard and they said one thing and it was taken another way. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm not saying it's not a big conspiracy and they're lying. I'm just saying, I don't know. All I can go by is what Crump said this morning, and then what the Cajun Navy said immediately after. So it is, Sarah Fields screenshot it too. So the Cajun Navy said, and I quote, Attorney Crump, "We didn't say Nolan was fully clothed when found. He was wearing only swim trunks. Please don't misrepresent our words." Then Sarah Fields, who's doing great coverage on this, I'm glad she moved from the Carmelo case to this.
Mm-hmm.
She says, the United Cajun Navy now says they never claimed Nolan was fully clothed, except here's the problem. All right, here's the Nancy Grace thing. And again, we're doing this in live time. On Nancy Grace, the following exchange took place. Nancy Grace, Nancy said, Nolan was face down, still fully clothed on the beach. Is that correct? President of the United Cajun Navy said, yes, that's correct. That statement was broadcast to a massive audience. This is exactly what happens when unverified claims are represented as fact on a massive platform like Nancy Grace. Conspiracy theories take flight, rumors spread unchecked, and innocent people end up being targeted. If you later have to walk back what was said, the damage was already done. This is what happens when you try to be the first instead of accurate. So to make of that what you will. Now, was the president of the Cajun Navy, was he wrong? Because I listened to their podcast, and it had the guy who's the head of the Cajun Navy, and it had the guy who's the head of rescue. Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Todd Terrell,
who's the head of search and rescue. And like, I love these guys, but it's a great example of maybe sometimes the left hand don't know exactly what the right is doing. But they did a podcast, I think on the 9th, possibly the 9th or 10th of July, just a few days after the dust had kind of settled and the body had been recovered, because they're the ones that found the body. They were the ones that kind of headed up the search and rescue on the same with Jackson County sheriffs, and I guess then the Coast Guard and all that. So maybe just misunderstanding. I don't think the Cajun Navy would intentionally lie.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm getting at here. I don't think they're covering their ass. Excuse me. They're covering their butts to try to look a certain way politically or anything, because I thought they did a really good job on this podcast that they did, explaining a lot, trying to debunk some things. I think they've been very, very good with the family. They, the head of search and rescue, the man who discovered the body, he's the one who told the mom, and he's talked to her every day. They just removed the politics and the race and all that stuff from it, just from a human to human transaction here. Thought the Cajun Navy's been very, very good on this thing. So somewhere we have some miscommunication between themselves, and I would like to see what they say on clearing this up.
Yeah, and I feel like
I don't think it matters either whether they had clothes on or not, by the way.
Yeah, what does that matter? But yeah, I feel like we'll definitely be hearing something from them.
If he chose to stay behind, if we're going to believe that story, which I do, that he chose to stay behind to try to hang out with a girl or whatever, it would make sense. And fully clothed can just mean Crocs and a t-shirt along with the swim trunks. I think fully clothed is being taken out of context a little bit here too. Yeah. Like he's wearing jeans and socks and shoes and a button-down shirt.
Yeah, which clearly I don't believe that was the case. We got to take a break, but when we get back, Clay, I want to talk about this morning's press conference and the fact that they didn't even have a medical examiner there presenting this evidence. He spun it exactly the way he wanted to spin it, which definitely didn't seem to be using facts. So y'all stay with us. We're going to be right back here. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show. I'm joined by Clay Edwards, 1039 WYAB. We'll be right back. Clay Edwards, 1039 WYAB. We'll be right back.
1039 WYAB.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable. And he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Delaware, President Trump and top military leaders and families attended the dignified transfer at Dover Air Base for 4 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East last week. 3 service members killed in an Iranian attack Friday at a U.S. base in Jordan. A 4th service member was killed a day earlier in Iraq. Flag-draped caskets transferred from a military plane to special vans. ABC's Louis Martinez has more on the solemn ceremony.
The closing of the 2 doors of those 2 transfer vehicles, all done simultaneously, a lot of synchronicity taking place there by the 2 airmen who were closing it, again symbolizing the dignity with which these remains of fallen service members are treated.
A state of emergency in West Virginia due to widespread flooding. National Guard members are being deployed along with swiftwater rescue teams to assist local responders. Heavy rain today could lead to severe flooding in both North Carolina and Virginia. This is ABC News.
Antique Mall of the South has 14,000 square feet of pristine, clean floor space. Home to beautiful, timeless antique treasures. Antique Mall of the South is open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. Check them out online at antiquemallofthesouth.com or go to the Antique Mall of the South Facebook page. You can also read the dozens of 5-star reviews online. Come see for yourself at Antique Mall of the South in Ridgeland. Now open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. That's Antique Mall of the South, Highway 51 in Ridgeland.
Remember when Saturday meant tackling 3 projects before lunch? Now you need a nap after buying the lumber. It doesn't happen all at once. Energy slips away a little at a time. Focus does too. The team at Live Better Men's Health and Wellness helps men get answers to low testosterone, fatigue, weight gain, and more. Because getting older is mandatory. Feeling old is optional. Learn more at livebettermen.com. That's livebettermen.com.
Imagine a day set apart for prayer, worship, and renewal. Reaching Beyond Ministries invites you to the Women's Prayer and Praise Break Conference, Thursday, September 24th at the 2 Mississippi Museums in downtown Jackson. Join women from our community for encouragement, fellowship, and faith-filled renewal as we pray for our city and beyond. Sponsorships, donations, and silent auction gifts are welcomed. For more information, email angelabutler01@gmail.com.
Want insider tips on foundation repair, maintenance, and how to protect your biggest investment? Todd Sandridge, owner of Superior Foundation Services, will be dropping in this month for quick interviews with your favorite local hosts. Whether you're dealing with cracks, settling, or just want peace of mind, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. Superior Foundation Services, helping you stay on solid ground. Find them online at superior.ms. That's superior.ms.
No. Would you choose Ceramic Air Conditioning and Heating for all service or installation? Well, they purchase all parts directly from the manufacturer. All of their factory-trained technicians have been hand-selected for skill, work ethic, and experience. There are never any hidden fees or charges. Ceramic Air Conditioning and Heating is dedicated to your complete satisfaction, and they're family-owned and operated. For residential and commercial service or installation, contact Ceramic Air Conditioning and Heating, 601-317-0729, or make an appointment through their Facebook page.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show, live here in the WYAB studios. We are joined by Clay Edwards. We're talking about the independent autopsy of Nolan Wells that was presented this morning in a press conference. Oh my, where did you come from? Kingfish just walked in the door. presented this morning in a press conference at the NAACP conference. Ben Crump did the presenting, not a medical examiner. I know, Clay, I thought it was a very big publicity stunt. I know
It
you were
was.
covering it live as it was happening. What are your thoughts now that you've had a little time to digest it?
Same thing that I thought prior going into it, that it was just grabbing a baseball bat and beating a dead horse just a little bit more before it eventually has to move on to the next thing. I mean, he's just disappointed that another black person hasn't died under any sort of particularly questionable or mysterious circumstances around another white person since this has happened, because he's had to probably spend a little more time on this one than he wanted to, knowing what the outcome inevitably is going to be, which is going to be a nothing sandwich, and they're all going to be wrong. He's never going to apologize, and he's going to move on to the next deal, just like he moved on from Coe and Wiley the minute the mom was pee-popping on a handstand with a fistful of dollars the day of the funeral, and people realized, oh crap, this chick is bat crap crazy and not the sympathetic figure we were hoping for, you know. And then he said, all right, well, let's go from North Mississippi or wherever Senatobi is down to South Mississippi, and let's stir up a little hate. And if anybody dies in Central Mississippi, we'll come and get them stirred up there in Jackson and around that area. That's just what he does. And, you know, we bite right into it every time here, but I refuse to sit back and allow people to make false claims of racism. And we have to live here and deal with this, and we have to hear about it constantly. I'm going to stand up and fight back, and damn the white people who haven't for the last 40 years. If it wasn't for y'all constantly biting your tongue, turning the other cheek, bending the knee, just not wanting to deal with it, worried about this, that, and the other, we wouldn't be in this situation anyway, where these people think they can come in and basically tell us to shut up and claim this crap and go unchecked and nobody say anything. We would keep them put in their place. And I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about race baiting outside agitators who want to come in here and profit off of Mississippi's terrible past. Those are the people I'm talking about. And you know what? If I am talking about some black people in between, if you feel like I'm talking about you, then I'm talking about you.
If the shoe fits. If the shoe
fits. And to the white people who are out there legitimately being racist, screw you too.
Yeah.
There's a big group of us in the middle. And I know people think there's dead set on me being a racist because I'm seem to be the face of people who ain't going to take it no more. But damn it, if I was, I would just sit back and be like, keep doing your thing in Jackson like you've been doing it. Keep on. Why would I say a word?
Yeah.
You know, but I'm tired of it. People are tired of it.
Yeah, and I know you've made this point as well. I've made this point too, but you know, he wins. It's a win-win-win situation. If it turns out that there was foul play, he gets to claim, oh, I was right, I told you so. If it turns out that the toxicology report comes back and there was some sort of drug overdose, he gets to claim, oh, well, those white boys must have drugged him. They must have put something in his drink.
That's exactly what it's going to be.
If it turns out that it was an accidental drowning, he's always going to say, oh, well, they're covering something up. It's Mississippi. He's right. He gets to be right no matter what the truth truly is.
I want to respond to a comment here. So McCall Howard says, if y'all only had this energy for racist, y'all stay talking about race baiting, but be dead silent when it comes to actual racism. The white people that are racist get a screw you too. Well, what does that even mean? How about y'all staying dead silent every time 3 or 4 black people get killed at a gas station by a single black person? And it's usually an innocent 3 or 4 black people that get killed by a random black person spraying a pistol with a clip or whatever the hell it's called, a switch. You know, but it's always silent when it's black on black. But the second you think somebody black was taken by somebody white, it stopped the presses. They're hunting black people. Ain't nobody hunting black people but other black people. And that's legitimate. Oh, there's our ops. Where are our ops doing? Where are our ops at? Gay. Waking up so worried about what another man's doing. How about that? How about stop killing each other and damn sure don't start killing us any more than you already have, 41 times more than we kill y'all.
Yeah, and Portia says, explain why the medical examiner didn't send all body parts to DC for the second autopsy. That is protocol. And if they had a medical examiner up there presenting this autopsy or this initial finding, they would have been able to explain that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a cousin that's a mortician, and I plan on calling her today and asking about some of this stuff, because I don't want to sit here and pretend that I know exactly what that means and whatnot. But I know Portia doesn't either. Portia is bit off into the apple that Crump put out there when he tried to make it mean something. It doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. They didn't send part of the throat. Oh no.
Because they're still working on it. They're still investigating. Kingfish, what do you want to say?
Well, yeah. In fact, before I came up here, I was on TikTok, watched this forensic one with a PhD in forensic whatever. I mean, but she's been through all this stuff, and she said normally they take the lungs out, they examine them, he said, this is an autopsy. You remove the organs. And the way Crump spun it was like, they took the organs out. And everybody's going, oh my gosh. They all freaked out.
Audible gasp.
And they put it in a plastic bag and then they seal it. And then they also remove the front, like his trachea, the front tissue. And Crump and them said, oh, his neck showed fractures. No, then they couldn't tell if the neck was fractured. Yes, you can actually. They didn't take anything out of the spinal cord. It was just the front part, the soft tissue, the trachea, larynx, that area. And they're going to keep that. Now, the medical examiner that Crump and them hired, they're not going to let him walk out of there with the samples. Okay. I mean, so that's not happening. And you have,
you know what, that makes perfectly good sense.
Custody, but he can go down there probably and do his own examination on the tissue. I mean, so they're
spinning it.
They're definitely, I mean, Crump, if you watch what Crump said, he didn't do that bad of a job of actually explaining what their results were. But yeah, there was some spinning going on.
For sure.
Well, no, it makes perfectly good sense when you hear it like that. Why would the state crime lab send everything to the independent and then pick and choose or not send something back? Then you have lost evidence. And then you have, oh, well, we don't have that. And that would have been the part that would have proven whatever. They can continue stringing along their little narrative.
Exactly. We got to take a break, but y'all stay with us. We're going to be back to wrap things up. And I don't know, Clay, if you have anything you've got to do after the phone's been ringing off the hook. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just an hour show, so we don't have a whole lot of time here.
I can stay live if you want to stay on the internet.
We can stay afterwards on the online streaming platforms. So if you're listening on the radio, you can go there and we can go over for a little bit. But y'all stay with us. We're going to be right back here to wrap up the radio part of the show today. The Lindsey Beckham Show, 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price, helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable, and he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
If you had an accident and had your vehicle repaired at the insurance company preferred shop, you might consider calling Clinton Body Shop to schedule a post-repair inspection. 5 of the last 6 cars we inspected were bought back by the insurer or repair shop due to unsafe repairs. Your family's safety and your investment are at risk. You may have a diminished value claim due to repairs. Did your insurance company mention that? In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
It's road trip season again. Is your vehicle ready? Take your vehicle to Green's Tire and Auto on Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland to get it in tip-top shape before you head to town. Don't get stranded while you're away from home. Preventative maintenance is their specialty at Green's Tire and Auto. And if your check engine light is already on, then Green's Tire and Auto can tell what's wrong and get it fixed. Before you start your road trip, take your car to Green's Tire and Auto, Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland.
Greetings. I'm Dr. Benny Tate, president of the Congregation of
Church denomination in Florence, Mississippi, and the pastor of Rock Springs Church in Milner, Georgia, inviting you to attend one of our services this week. Find a church near you at cm-church.org and be sure and listen for our weekly program, Apples of Gold from Rock Springs Church, here on 103.9 WYAB.
Sundays, 7:30 and 10.
For decades, you've known the name Martin's for good times, great food, and the best live music. Now that's happening at 2 locations, downtown Jackson and Livingston. Check the websites, martinslivingstonms.com and martinsdowntownjxn.com for the many special events and live music lineups. You can chill with friends on the big patio at the Livingston location and enjoy the blue plate lunches and nightly drink specials. Martin's, downtown and Livingston.
Hi, this is Rita Jensen with Remax Connection, and I want to tell you, I've lived in Florida for over 50 years. I'm a graduate of Tri-County Academy, went there the first day the doors opened. If you're thinking about putting your children into Tri-County Academy and need a place to live, then give me a call. Without a doubt, the Florida expert when it comes to real estate. So if you need a place to live, give me a call. Rita Jensen, Remax Connection. 601-720-4037 or go to my website, ritajensen.net.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We are live here in the WYAB studios. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X, joined by morning time host Clay Edwards of the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB from 7 to 9, Monday through Friday. We're talking about the situation, the Nolan Wells independent autopsy, the findings that were released in a press conference by Attorney Ben Crump this morning. Y'all are on fire over in the comment section here. A lot of people arguing between yourselves. Someone said, I hope you get to my question, but the comments are popping up so fast that I didn't even see what the question was. Clay, have you seen any questions that you want to?
No, I've been handling a customer service issue with something else over here.
But there's people arguing. Of course, that's what happens when you have an attorney like Ben Crump who comes into these situations and wants there to be racial tension, wants there to be a bigger divide within the community, and it's working. It's working perfectly. This is exactly what he does.
Yeah, just human trash bag, and he's good at it. And I kind of I respect the hustle, but I dislike his hustle because his hustle is to make him as much money and the people who are with him as much money as possible. And he does that, but in the process, it leaves communities in complete ruins, and it leaves relationships completely ruined that did not have to be.
No.
But we're all supposed to just say, yeah, them boys could have killed him or they'd killed him. They want these kids' scalps. They're creating crimes they didn't commit. They've referenced maritime law, like for shipping vessels, trying to say that a pleasure boat is under the same maritime laws that a cruise ship would be, as far as like not leaving passengers. I don't even know. It's just nonsense. I played the video on my show today, and it doesn't matter, but this video had 250,000 views. And it looked professional. It sounded professional. And people hear that and they don't know any better. When they go, oh, well, he's responsible for that guy being left behind. Even if that guy wanted to stay, if he don't get out and physically fight him, kidnap him, and throw him back in the boat, he's responsible for leaving that man behind. I will go to my grave being astonished of the Black community's sudden their new hill to die on, I guess the best way to say it, of this no man left behind. Mm-hmm. I mean, did none of y'all ever leave the house and go to the club and one of your boys meet a chick and be like, hey, I'm going with her?
These aren't young kids. They're 18 and 19 years old. Yeah. They're basically adults, college age kids. That video also talked about how this boy could face charges for drinking and operating a boat. Well, nobody did any blood testing or breath testing. You can't go back after the fact and say, oh, he must have been drunk. So that's just BS. It's something that they are using to push a narrative and to continue to try and make these boys look like they're guilty of something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. He's going to get a BUI. He can't get a BUI. They didn't catch him drinking. Even if he told them he was drinking, they can't give him a BUI. And drinking a beer, you can't get a BUI no more than you can drinking a beer and driving a car. It's completely asinine, and it's all put in place to try to paint this narrative. And I told you, anything on that autopsy other than death by racism, they were going to be unhappy.
Yeah,
because if there had been anything for them to say that this was murder, they would have said it today. All he could say was inconclusive.
Yeah. 1,000,000%. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to stay on with us, we're going to stay on for a little bit on the online stream, but that's all the time we have for today. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. See you then. Bye. All right. Okay. We're off air on the radio now, but I can stay for a little bit, Clay, if that's good with you.
Yeah, I'm good for a little bit. 10, 15 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
So just hook up my mic. I can't hear Clay, so.
Test.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Go ahead, Kingfish.
All right, Clay, I'm about to get out of here, so don't worry. I'm not trying to hog your time or anything.
Oh, no, you're good.
So, what you were just saying reminded me of somebody else in this state, Carlos Moore. Remember him?
He is arisen.
Years. He'd always have these same types of press conferences, the flag, this or that, somebody did this, and then when you get into it, none of it was true. He was just stirring up stuff. Well, now he's disbarred, got kicked off the bench, but he did this. Remember the deal out in Rankin County when this kid was acting a fool in class and the teacher says, "Oh, he just leave him alone. He's going to hang himself." And that turned into a damn threat of lynching. And he made a big press conference, sues Rankin schools. And when it was all said and done, 2 years later, guess what? Rankin schools didn't pay a dime. He did the same thing up there in Tupelo, where he said the cops had put out a memo that said open season on black people, literally said that. And well, that city challenges him in court. And he said, told the judge, I made it up. And he got fined $3,000. And remember that Bellhaven case?
Yeah.
When he sued Bellhaven, turned out she was a stripper. She'd been sending pictures of herself to the guy before he ever sent anything to her. And then he and his client destroyed the evidence, got fined by the court for me. But my point is, that's what these clowns do. And the Goon Squad lawyer and I, Trent Walker, we were talking on my podcast and was like, I didn't say his name, Carlos Moores, but he was like, I know you're talking about. I said, this is the problem. Y'all first came out with the Goon Squad lawsuit. I said, because of that other attorney you had involved, we all thought it was bogus. You were just making up stuff because we had to deal with these other guys like Crump and Moore making up stuff all the time. And sure enough, you go online, Clay, and you look, there's Carlos Moore trying to jump in on this again, even though he's disbarred, suspended, the whole 9 yards, can't practice law, and I mean, he's just sitting there that's what we've had to deal with for years and years. Easiest thing is to come in the state, scream racism, and beat up on Mississippi. And like trained seals, all these people just going to jump in there and clap. Yeah. Anyway,
that's it. I've seen it. I think I sent you one of his posts. He has come back out and he's letting you know he's the people's judge now. This is the people's court, and Carlos the clown is leading the court.
Backing it. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild to me how many people buy into it. And
I said it the other day. We've moved past this being the oppression Olympics. This is an oppression fetish. They have a racism. Black people, a large portion of them, I don't think it's a minority anymore. It's too many. It's too many online doing it for it to be a minority. And I see the minority is the pushback that I see. But there's a racism fetish in this country. And it's like white girls and true crime. White girls all love true crime because y'all think you're going to one day be a victim of. Nobody wants to kidnap most of y'all. Nobody wants to assault most of you in any way, form, or fashion.
My daddy always told me if somebody took me, they'd bring me back.
Now I say that, and Lindsay, I mean, you lost a sister to violence.
Yeah.
So obviously that's very close to near and dear to you. But generally speaking, if you play the numbers, you have your chances of becoming a victim of true crime in any sort is very rare. But most people all leave the house today thinking, especially women, today's the day I could get murdered or raped. And If I swear black people act like today's the day that white supremacy is going to jump out behind the corner and get me. And it's just, the numbers don't pan out for that to be true. But if you looked on the internet and you listen to these people, you would think that, my God, do I know somebody that has jumped out and woogie to some black person? And I don't know a single person in my life that has claimed to be a racist, much less ever done anything to intentionally harm a black person because they were black. I have seen folks clean a black person's clock several times, but it wasn't because they were black. You know, because of disrespect, or somebody was messing with somebody's girl, or somebody had started something with them, whatever the case may be. And I want to say this too, and I said it on my show this morning, but black people, every time somebody white does something to you, it ain't always because you're black. It rarely is it actually because you're black. Like, look at that black person, let me do whatever. That's just not how it works. Every action from a white person towards a black person is not race-based. You know, people kill people for a multitude of reasons. And rarely is it because of race, at least from our perspective. And you'll never convince me otherwise.
I don't see it. You know, people look at Mississippi and think, I guess we're an easy target because of the past, but people want to claim, oh, that happened in Mississippi, it had to be about race. I do not see that in my day-to-day life. And Clay, this person has asked this question a bunch of times and keeps wanting us to answer it, but they said, what causes black on black crime? I know you talk about this a lot.
Well, they say it is because of disproportionate this and systemic racism and all these other ridiculous reasons other than lack of accountability. And that's what causes it, lack of accountability. And a rotten, or as I call it, culture rot is what causes black on black crime. It ain't because of slavery. It's not because of the pre-civil rights era. It's not because of anything that the Klan did. It's not because of any of that. You know, being poor does not make you immoral. All right. So let's use trailer park white trash, for example. And not everybody lives in a trailer ain't trash, but you know, let's do the stereotype here. Just play this through with me for a minute. Why don't, you know, y'all tell us about all the white trash stuff that goes on. Why don't we see the level of violence in the white trash trailer park communities that we see in the equally black trash, high crime area, urban communities? Why, hell, even rural. You're beginning to see it now in the black rural areas as well. But why don't we see that in the mirror equal to the white economic areas, to the white trash areas? Is something in black culture that is taking violence and moving it to the front of the line. It is the, what's the word? Conflict resolution. The conflict resolution skills are shot to hell. There's this mentality that I would rather go to prison than turn the other cheek. Then really, that's it. I don't have another thing to say about it. Y'all would rather go to prison. It is more honorable to go to prison than it is to live to fight another day. And I'll never understand it. I won't, there's no respect in that. That is a rotten culture.
And it really is the culture.
And it's why people don't want to be around you. It's people are scared to be around you. Yeah. Or that subset of the black demographic, that the ghetto subset, whatever, of the black demographic, because people see how you act. They see what you're doing. They don't want to catch a stray. They don't want to look at you the wrong way and have to deal with the crap. Like, it's just easier to avoid you, to ignore you, and going about our business. You know, that's just how I feel about it. That's how everybody feels about it.
Yeah, this same person said, so is it systemic racism for blacks and social media racism for whites? I don't know what social media racism, I don't know what you mean by that, but it's obvious. And this has shown, I think, both Clay and I, even more to an extent, how much our algorithms really feed us what makes us angry. The doom scrolling, they know how to get you.
Yeah, I mean, my algorithm, all it shows me is you guys attacking white people and each other. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's what I see. If your algorithm is showing you something different, I'd be interested in seeing it, because what mine shows me is, and what mine shows everybody else I know, is the complete opposite. There wasn't a white fatigue hashtag going around in the last 12 months, was it, that I'm aware of?
Not that I saw.
It wasn't trending anywhere. Interesting. Because I'm told that it was, that it is, that it's the same thing, or that we commit the same amount of crimes. And look, I don't want y'all to commit the crimes. I'm not rooting for anybody to commit crimes, but don't act shocked when people get fed up with it and start calling it out. How about y'all get fed up with it and quit protecting it? And that's the other thing too. In the Black community, there's this no snitch culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's no, you can't snitch on a crime. You can't snitch. I ain't seen nothing. You can't snitch. But man, the second that y'all thought somebody white may have killed somebody Black, it was everybody better tell them everything they saw. Get your cameras out. Show us your footage. Give us your phone.
Somebody saw something. I'll give you $500,000 if you, $50,000 if you can give us something that will lead to an arrest and a conviction. And one other thing they can.
And I have no problem with that, by the way. But keep that same energy when it happens in your community.
Yeah. And one other thing, Clay, that they continue to say is about this going to a grand jury. What are they taking to a grand jury? What on earth could they take to a grand jury right now?
But that's what I've been asking, because there has to be some evidence of a crime. I assume the grand jury doesn't get to decide if there's. I mean, maybe I'm wrong because this is just my assumption and what I've read online. The grand jury doesn't get to decide if there was. But there's got to be something criminal to take them. Not this guy stayed on the boat. The grand jury don't get to do the investigation. Like they're not paid investigators. They're not criminal, forensic people. They're people like me and you. They got chose to be on a grand jury.
Yeah. So to continue to say this is going to go to a grand jury, you can indict a ham sandwich, but who are you indicting and for what?
Yeah. For leaving him at his will, like that's not against the law. Contrary to this, again, y'all's new number one hill to down, other than no snitching, of course, is no man left behind. It is illegal to leave anybody anywhere now. Man, look, I owned a predominantly Black nightclub. And by predominantly Black, I mean 99% Black nightclub in downtown Jackson for 10 years, almost 10 years. And I can't tell you how often that people got left there and we had to sit and wait, because we didn't want to just leave people out on the sidewalk for another ride to come get them because their ride left them. And I don't remember charges getting pressed or any big scene being made about that. It's just ridiculous. Again, they want and they need some racism to happen because that's how the grift keeps going, is they need racism. Even if it's 1 in 10 million, that's just enough with their partners in media and with social media to keep the grift alive. I talked about it on the show this morning. I played that Booker T. Washington video that's on my socials, on my Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, I uploaded it this morning. That guy reading a quote out of Booker T. Washington's book about cancer and curing cancer. And we've always said this, the money is not in the cure. The money is in the medicine. I've said this about Jackson forever with the Free the Landers. They don't want to save Jackson. They don't want to fix Jackson. That's the last thing they want. They want Jackson to be the murder capital of America. They may not wake up today and say it in those exact words, but if Jackson was fixed and it was like Rankin County, do you know how many NGOs and nonprofits and all of these things would go away and all these people would actually have to get jobs?
Yeah.
Way more than you think.
Yeah.
Way more than you think. There's quite the grift going on over there. They need it to be a third world hellhole.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like job security.
Exactly. And not only the fact that he is an adult and can make his own decisions, you can't just hit this kid over the head and drag him onto the boat and make him leave.
That would be kidnapping.
But the boat was taking on water. That's proven. There was a problem with the boat. They had to get it out of there.
The bilge pump wasn't working. Now, I would tell you this as a guy that I owned a boat. Boats take on water. They do. That's why they have a bilge pump on them. It's because they take on water, especially out in rough waters. Like if boats didn't take on water, they wouldn't need a bilge pump. And most people, certainly all maritime experts, don't even know what a bilge pump is. So I'm not going to hear people talk to me about bilge pumps and GPSs and waters when none of you have ever experienced any of this stuff. Y'all tell me that that I don't know what it's like to be black, that I haven't lived y'all's life experience. Well, then I guess you haven't lived mine either. And if you haven't been on a boat, you don't understand lake life, you don't understand none of that, don't talk to me about it. Don't try to tell me you're suddenly the expert on that. At least I can say I lived in South Jackson till 5 years ago for my whole life. That's more than I can say about you going out and hanging out on the reservoir and understanding boat life, lake life, hanging out. And I'm lumping, I know Horn Island and the Gulf on a lake, but it's the same mentality. So many people all the time arrive on one boat and leave on another, because you're talking about a lot of single guys that'll go out there, they'll bump into girls, they'll bump into other friends, their ride want to leave earlier, or they're ready to leave earlier than their ride, and somebody's leaving, they'll catch a ride back, because most people are always going back to the same place. Now, I don't know about on the Gulf Coast, because there's a lot of different, I'm assuming there's a lot of different, places to dock out of, a lot of different piers and stuff, but like on the reservoir, if you're up at Flag Island, there's Ratliff, there's Tommy's, there's Sunset. Well, Sunset is I don't even think there's a boat dock at Sunset, like a back, a trailer where you can back a trailer in at Sunset. You got to do it at 43. You got to do it at Tommy's, which we call 43 or Tommy's, whatever. So there's a good chance that somebody else is going back to one of the 2 or 3 only places you can put in at: Coles Bluff, Ratliff, or 43. The rest, you would have to get all the way back into Big Water, and you ain't got but 3 places there: Main Harbor by Cockatawalk, but Main Harbor by Cockatawalk.
So everybody's kind of coming back to the same place.
The gas station right there where the dock was. Yeah, you only get over by Shaggy's.
It doesn't matter which boat you ride back on. You're all coming to the same place.
Lakeshore Park. Yeah, you don't have a whole lot of different places. There's a good chance that somebody else is going back to or passing by and can drop you off at the wherever you're parked at. So it's not that rare at all. But I get if you don't know, because you hadn't been out on the boat and you haven't done that, experienced that. I get it. And I'll just be telling you from spending a lot of time on the river, there ain't a lot of black folks up river. Ain't a lot of black folks up at Flag Island. So I don't expect y'all to know that.
Yeah, but that sure has been a thing that they've wanted to push. Not only that, Clay, but at first it was they left him. How dare they leave him? And then you hear, well, one of them had to be the one who killed him. They must have killed him. Well, both can't be true. I mean, did they leave him there, or did they take him out there and plan to kill him? Both can't be true at the same time.
No, I mean, you got to pick. It keeps changing. They keep telling us that this is what happened. Well, who did he stay with? I mean, and they haven't told us that. They have not told us who he stayed out there with. And I don't know if anybody's come forward or not and said it was me that he chose to stay with. Did the girl come forward?
I think so. I think this girl, Katie, did come forward and say that, when he left her, he told her he was headed back or going back with his friends. But I saw an interview that one of the friends did with Officer Tatum, and
I watched it last night.
Yeah. So there were like 3 or 4 different boats, and this whole friend group is going out there, but they're all on different boats. So now both of those things could be true. He could have told Katie, hey, I'm going to go back with my friends, and then not make it back to the boat. It's whatever happened in between. Is that, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I think the story does keep changing, and to automatically place blame on someone when we don't have any evidence that there was foul play, it's just wrong. It goes against what our whole justice system stands for.
Yeah, like I will sit here and argue people for weeks, but at the end of the day, let the y'all started this whole, his friends killed him the minute y'all saw a picture of a black guy with 3 or 4 white people.
Yep.
And his body was found, within 24 hours, roughly 36 hours of coming up missing, give or take. Went missing late on the 4th, was found on the 6th, right?
Right, early on the 6th.
Yeah, so let's say 36 hours, within 2 days. I spoke to Creston Birch on my show this morning, 30-year cop. For somebody who's, once they've gone missing, like that's a pretty quick turnaround to find a body. Yeah. And the fact the body washed back into shore, tells you the most likely thing is, Lindsey, you've probably spent some time upriver. You can wade out into the water a little bit and it be waist high, and boom, you can drop off, and that current can suck you. And that is most likely what happened. He was walking off somewhere. Maybe he went to go pee in the water, whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what could happen. And, some people poop in the water, believe it or not.
Ugh.
I've seen a floater,
Ugh.
Flag Island.
I could have gone all day without hearing that question.
It's gross, but I'm just trying to paint a picture for people who might not know. It's so many different reasons. He could have waited out a little bit and poop, and nobody else is paying attention. People are doing their own thing.
And if they were going to do this, if they were purposely going to do this, would they not have taken him way far out and dropped his cell phone out there with him?
100%. They would. There's so many different ways you would have done this. At least in my mind, having watched a million crime documentaries, that there's so many different ways you would have done this than the way that it allegedly happened, if that was the intention. Oh, but they got no argument. That we've already had somebody come out and debunk that. But let's just say they still would have done it a different way. You mean, so there's just too many different wrongs here. So they killed him in front of everybody. No, he got back on the boat and they waited till they got further out and they got to an argument. They killed him. Then they dumped him or brought him back. None of that makes any sense. The GPS doesn't reflect that.
Or they brought him back and then took him back out there.
I remember the pool party picture. That was it.
Yeah.
That was the smoking gun. See, he came back.
That picture is from June.
Yep. And I just thought that was like the craziest one of all, because all those people in that picture, we're going to be able to confirm this pretty quickly. But no, that's it. If they say any different, they're lying. It's just like, what? Why do y'all want this to be a racism so bad?
They have to have it.
Everybody should be wanting that not to be the case.
It's like they get off on it.
That's what I said. It's a fetish. There's a racism, oppression fetish by one group of people in this country that just, they need it. They need it. And then you have like white liberals that live in other parts of the country that with their white savior complex, they're like, oh my God, black people are being hunted and killed in Mississippi. Let me put my cape on and spring into action.
It's wild. It's just wild.
And I'm telling you, I'm tired of this of all of us being called racist when that's not the case. I mean, I'm moving forward. I'm treating being called a racist like they treat being called the N-word. I mean, that's the reaction you're going to get from me.
Yeah.
I think we should treat the words because I'm going to tell you what, being called a racist can have way worse implications on any of our lives than you being called the N-word by anybody. And like it is when y'all call people that with no basis, you're trying to ruin somebody's life when you do that. And screw that. I'm done. We're done with it. We're done with it.
Yeah. This was eye-opening to me, especially the situation over in Senatobia. This cop's life, I'm sure, ruined because of this, people wanting to kill this man. And then this happening so shortly after, from the tip top of our state to the very bottom, they're wanting to scream how awful Mississippi is. And it's not true. It's not factual. I see nothing like that on a day-to-day basis. And I've lived in Mississippi my whole life, other than for a couple of years that I lived in Birmingham. So I just think it's a narrative, pushing a narrative. And it's just like the Southern Poverty Law Center, Clay, funding the KKK to keep this mess stirred up. They want it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at some of the comments here. Like, no, Paris says it isn't people. I guess they're trying to say it's not a racism fetish. People just want answers. No, y'all don't. No, you don't. Y'all started this the day he came up missing. I mean, this investigation has moved along pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's obviously a complex investigation when you have a body disappear on water, surface back up, 4,000 alleged witnesses, all these different moving parts. Like they keep screaming, we need a thorough investigation. What do you think you're getting? There's clearly a thorough investigation going on. Who is hiding anything from you? Who is protecting the guilty? Like that doesn't make any sense. And I said this on the show this morning. Crump talking about the state, trying to insinuate that the state
because covering something up, or
the crime lab not sending the part of the throat, like it's some kind of cover up. Like, what would they have to benefit? Who are they protecting?
Especially with this
random white kids on the coast, a stepson of some nobody judge from down on the coast. I mean, who the hell is Ashley Cole? She's what, a circuit court judge or something down there. Who the hell is she? I mean, I don't mean no disrespectfully, but on the scale of important people, she that's not a statewide office. We don't play this "I'm my brother's keeper" crap. We don't. I mean, I think the Goon Squad should be the best example. Look where they're at. Look at the swift justice that happened in that case. And you say, well, that was federal. State mirrored it did at the same time. Like, we don't protect racists like that. Like, that is just a myth. Like, there's no reason. All the different levels of government it would take to run protection for these boys,
especially with this much national attention, people watching every single detail. I would think that they're going to be even more careful,
100%,
and more thorough.
And the coast is a pretty dang diverse place down there.
Yeah,
it's not like we're not talking about like the Dixie Mafia running the coast like it's the Sherry murders in the 80s down there. It's probably the most equitably diverse, racially diverse area in the state, if I had to guess, as far as like left-leaning, right-leaning, Republican, Democrat, black, white. There's a lot of Asians down there too. So I don't understand where this thought process is coming from, but I do. It's coming from the media. It's coming from Crump. It's coming from the people who need this to be racisms.
I'll tell you what, I lost a lot of respect for Nancy Grace watching
I never
that
had
show.
any far to begin with. So I saw somebody say that yesterday. I saw Brooke Wiltshire say, if Nancy said that, I've lost a lot of respect for her. I wonder, hell, when did you have any for her? But teach their own, I guess. But I never had any respect for Nancy Grace.
Well, I watched her a good bit back during Natalie Holloway's disappearance in Aruba and her covering all of that. But I watched her show because she did a show about this very topic and about Nolan Wells. And when I heard her call Ben Crump her good friend, I thought, okay, lady, you're obviously delusional.
Yeah.
No more respect from me.
Well, see, now we got like some call-ins and we got some text here. So Baby Doll says, that's what I said, Clay. And then Hashan Rashad Mack, I hope I'm saying your name right, says it's a damn shame people are basically praying that he was murdered. And that's what I've been saying. Like, we should all collectively hope he wasn't murdered.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, but that's the people who are hoping he was murdered are the people who need to push a narrative. Like, we need there to be racism. No, you don't. None of us need that. None of us need this to be a murder. It's sad. I wish we could jump into the DeLorean and force him to get on the boat and go home with those guys and have avoided this whole thing.
Yeah.
But you know what? Life is tragic. And if anything, we should all remember just how fragile life is and how you're never more than one decision away from dying. It's just one quick decision away from dying. And and then Crump trying to paint the narrative that he's a football player. He can swim. He may be a world-class swimmer. I showed today or yesterday, and then I brought it up on the show today, where 7 former football players that we know of for sure have drowned in the last few years, last 15, 20 years.
It doesn't matter. You can be an Olympic swimmer. If that current turns a certain way and the tide turns a certain way and grabs you, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, riptide catches you, pulls you down. It's a wrap. It don't matter who you are, how strong you are, how much wind. Sure, that helps. Gives you a little bit more of a puncher's chance than it does some fat 40-something-year-old. But at the end of the day, Mother Nature can win.
Yeah. Someone asked who Ashley Cole is. Ashley Cole is the mom of one of the boys that was on the boat.
She's a stepmom that's the judge. And people have been trying to say that she was she's part of the cover-up. She's powerful enough to get this covered up.
Threatening her family, threatening her children.
Yeah, like, okay, maybe if this was a DUI or something like that, sure. But not this. This is way too big. This is the next level of, not the next level. This is like as high profile as it gets. This is Trayvon Martin levels of high profile. This is George Floyd levels of high profile. And you also have to throw in the Mississippi aspect.
Right.
And like nothing gets their penises harder than a potential racisms in Mississippi. Yeah. Oh, it's Mississippi burning 2.0. It's Emmett Till.
And there's no comparison whatsoever to Emmett
Well,
Till.
look,
None.
Lindsay, I've been saying this for the last week. The fact that they're having to still mention Emmett Till tells you how rarely this crap happens. Because if it happened more often, there'd be a dozen more Emmett Tills, a dozen more Medgar Evers to mention in Mississippi. But it rarely happens. It hadn't happened here, I guess, since Emmett Till or Medgar Evers.
Right.
Two different situations. One was a lynching. One was an assassination. And one's an adult. One's a kid. Two completely different type murders. But at the end of the day, for the same reason, legitimate racism. And I won't argue with it. I won't argue about that. That's legitimate racism. That's what they died by racism. That's what it should say on their birth certificate, their death certificates. Died by racism. I don't care what the cause of death was. It was by racism. I agree, 100%. But can I count on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands, fingers and toes, feet and hands? How many times I've had to heard this is just like Emmett Till? No, it's not.
Not at all. Not at all. And speaking about the tides and the current, when you get into a situation like that, there's no telling what a body is slammed into. So when we talk about a bruise that or a red place on the, I mean, who's to know that if he was swept away by the tide, that his body didn't slam into something that would cause that. Clay, I thought it was terrible that the family had to sit there and listen to this boy, them talk about his body being cut open and dissected, but that's
they put themselves there. I don't feel bad for them. I mean, they put themselves there. They've done this to themselves. They invited the devil in, and just like no different than Robert Johnson selling his soul at the crossroads for fame and fortune. They sold their soul at the crossroads for fame and fortune, and this is the devil coming for his. So they got what they asked for. I have no pity for them at all. I have pity for their son dying, but I have no pity, no empathy or sympathy for them having to sit there and hear a lick of that, or for the pushback they're getting online for anything, because they have set out to destroy that community down there. They knew exactly what they were doing the minute that they sold their soul to Ben Crump and the social justice Satanist. And like I said, I have no sympathy for them at all. Y'all can quote me on that. Y'all can screenshot this. Y'all can screen record it, put it everywhere. Make sure you spell my name right.
One of the things I thought was the saddest is the funeral, the celebration of life for this young man, to me, was hijacked by these people who wanted to turn it into a social justice rally.
And didn't even talk about Nolan.
Right. They're chanting justice, justice, justice. And instead of really remembering and honoring, celebrating.
Does justice for Nolan include just the proper investigation? Are y'all happy with justice for Nolan if it proves that the boys didn't kill him?
They'll never believe that. They'll never believe that. Ben Crump won't let them ever believe that. There's a group of people that no matter what they find, it's not going to be good enough. Unless it's those white boys murdered him for being black. That unless they come out and say that, it's not going to be good enough for a certain group of people.
I mean, I think the least thing that they'll be satisfied with is some type of manslaughter charge for leaving them on the island, which ain't going to happen.
That can't happen. It's not a crime.
And even if they were to somehow convince a grand jury to charge them of that, I don't know that it would ever make it to trial. And if it does, a jury would throw it out. A judge is going to throw it out and reprimand the prosecutor for attempting to do it.
Yeah.
The prosecutor would probably get disbarred for trying some foolishness.
He
like
laughed out of a courtroom, I'm sure.
Now if it was Hinds County, they're screwed. They're screwed because black over everything. I mean, we saw it happen with the Anthony Fox trial, but I mean, just what do you say? But I think, look, we're probably a couple weeks away. Russ Latino's interviewing Sean Tyndall today on his show on Mississippi Broadcast, MPB, Mississippi Public Broadcast. Russ is a good interviewer. He's going to ask some tough questions. Whether Sean can answer them or not, I don't know. But he's coming on there to discuss this. So what comes from it, I don't know. I'll be tuned in. I think it's around 3 or 4. I'll tell y'all right now what time it is. I'm going to co-stream it to my channels. I think it's around 3 or 4. I'm not going to debate through the text now. Anyway, just sign up for notifications. You'll see me go live on Facebook or YouTube. I prefer y'all follow me on YouTube at SaveJXN than Facebook. Facebook is way more trigger happy, take stuff down, accounts included, than YouTube. But look, I want to get to the bottom of this. And let me be clear. If those boys are guilty, if there's evidence to prove that they did this, lock their asses up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not fighting for them to not be charged if they're guilty. But just winging a prayer just because you want it to be racism, like you need it to be racism, is asinine to me. It makes me not ever want to be around black people because I'm scared that if something happens, am I going to be blamed for them tripping and falling down a flight of stairs? Am I going to be blamed for them drowning? Is my family going to get raked over the coals? And I can already tell you, absolutely, because they rake my family over the coals now just because they don't like the things I say.
Yeah.
God forbid if somebody died within a football field of me, and I love my black friends, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared if something were to happen to one of them, not of their family, but of the mob.
Yeah. My daughter my daughter even said that to me, watching some of this go on. She even kind of made that scenario play out in her own mind and said, what if something happened to a friend of mine? If I'm with one of my black friends and something happens, are they automatically going to blame the people who are with them for being white? And I said, they could. I mean, that's what's happening right now with no evidence to prove anything.
Yeah. And just for the record, I'm not going to quit hanging out with my friends. I'm just being a little dramatic here to make the point. I will roll the dice and I'm going to be friends with whoever, but that there's this conversations being had. We know it's being had on the black side because they've told us on the internet.
Yeah. This is what happens when you let your kids hang around with white people.
Yeah. Yeah. We know it's happening there because they've told us, but behind closed doors, it's absolutely happening in white communities, especially people who maybe have higher profile parents, wealthier parents, stuff like that, who can't afford, well, nobody can afford to lose everything. Let's be clear about it. But there's definitely some people who are higher profile. And if their kids are to get caught up into something, they're going to be held to a different standard than an average kid whose parents aren't high profile. By high profile, I don't necessarily mean famous. I didn't mean, wealthy, however, politically, connected or in politics. So there's definitely going to be a conversation about, look, we can't take a chance. You can't have that friend. Sorry.
Yeah. And
can anybody blame them?
No.
That sucks.
Really can't.
But black people have nobody to blame but themselves. And this strange push for resegregation. I never thought I'd be saying, I didn't even know the word resegregation was a word till just now, but pushing for resegregation, because that's what y'all are doing. You're pushing for resegregation. You're telling us that. You're telling us that you're not going to allow your kids to have white friends over a myth, over a lie being pushed.
A narrative being spun, a fear tactic, or a narrative to rile the people up, cause more division. It's mind boggling. It makes no sense to me, but I guess it makes some people some money.
Yeah, it's wild. All right, I got a life. I got to go live, not talk about racism all day.
All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Clay, thanks for coming on. I'm sure that we will both be keeping all of you updated as more unfolds with this case over in Ocean Springs.
Got it. Y'all be good. Thanks, Lindsay.
Bye.
Bye.